Soup feels like the ultimate comfort food. Warm, soothing, and gentle enough for anyone, especially seniors. But here's the reality. Some soups are loaded with hidden sodium, chemical additives, and questionable ingredients that can quietly harm your health. Today, we're breaking down the 10 soups you should absolutely avoid, and we'll finish with 2 soups that are actually safe, satisfying, and good for you. Number 10. Canned chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup in a can sounds like the definition of comfort. Pop the lid, heat it up, and you've got nostalgia in a bowl. But let's peel back the label. A single serving, just half a can, can hide 900 milligrams of sodium or more. Eat the whole can, which most people do, and you're blowing past the recommended daily sodium intake in one sitting. For older adults, that means swollen ankles, pounding headaches, and blood pressure spikes that can send you straight to the ER. And the sodium isn't the only red flag. Many of these cans are still lined with BPA, a chemical linked to hormone disruption and higher risks of heart disease. The FDA insists it's safe at low levels, but for seniors already at risk, even small amounts can stack up over time. Now, let's talk about taste. The chicken is usually chewy little scraps. The noodles turn to mush, and the veggies are so overcooked they might as well be food coloring. The broth? Salt water with a faint whisper of poultry. If you've ever finished a can and felt thirstier than before you started, that wasn't comfort food. It was chemical-laced salt water pretending to be soup. Number 9. Cream of mushroom soup. For a lot of us, cream of mushroom soup feels nostalgic. It's the base for casseroles, the secret ingredient in Mom's recipes, and a pantry staple. But one look inside that can should stop you cold. Instead of wholesome mushrooms and real cream, you're getting a mix of industrial cream, starches, MSG, preservatives, and, you guessed it, mountains of salt. Half a can can easily top 1,000 milligrams of sodium. And because the serving size is only half a can, the label tricks you into thinking it's not that bad. But let's be honest, nobody eats half. Here's what makes it worse. European versions of the exact same soups are lower in salt and additives because their regulators demand it. In the US, companies sell us the cut-rate version. When you heat it up, watch for the oily sheen that floats to the top like pond scum. That's what coats your mouth with grease. And those so-called mushroom chunks? Just tiny flecks in a beige sludge. MSG is tossed in to fake the flavor, which can leave sensitive people dizzy, bloated, or headachy. For seniors with high blood pressure, cholesterol, or diabetes, this isn't comfort. It's sabotage. Even worse, when you use it as a casserole base, every dish made with it doubles the fat, calories, and sodium. If you've ever cracked open a can and wondered why it smells like wet cardboard, but ate it anyway, you already know. Sadness has a shape, and it slides out of a soup can. Number 8. Lobster bisque from chain restaurants. Bisque sounds fancy, right? You picture white tablecloths, rich flavor, maybe even a romantic dinner. But order lobster bisque at a chain restaurant, and you're basically paying $12 for a bowl of cholesterol in disguise. The truth is, most of these places don't even use real lobster. The base is usually imitation seafood stock loaded with cream and butter. The lobster bits that do show up are frozen, thawed and chewy, more like seafood leftovers than the star of the dish. A single cup can hit 500 calories and 30 grams of fat. Upgrade to a bowl, and you've just matched the fat content of a double cheeseburger. On top of that, the sodium can top 1,200 milligrams, which is like throwing your cardiovascular system under a bus. Even the texture is a problem. Thick, oily and heavy. It coats your mouth in grease that lingers long after the last bite. For seniors, that kind of saturated fat raises cholesterol, hardens arteries, and spikes the risk of heart attack. And don't think it's made fresh. In many chains, bisque is mass-produced in factories, frozen, shipped, and then reheated. Your luxury seafood soup is basically a TV dinner with a fancier name. If you've ever ordered lobster bisque and thought it tasted more like cream with a lobster afterthought, you already know. When a soup has the same nutrition profile as a cheeseburger, it belongs in a drive-thru, not on a white tablecloth. Number 7. Instant Ramen Noodle Soup. For decades, instant ramen has been the budget hero of late-night snacks and broke college students. But behind the convenience lies one of the worst soups you could ever eat, especially for older adults. The biggest red flag is sodium. A single packet, seasoning included, packs anywhere from 1,600 to 1,900 milligrams of sodium. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams per day for seniors or anyone with high blood pressure. That means one little pack maxes out your daily limit, or blows past it, in a single sitting. And who stops at half a pack? Most people slurp the whole thing at once, meaning the sodium hits all at once, spiking blood pressure, straining kidneys, and stressing the heart. Then come the additives. The flavor packet is basically a chemical cocktail, MSG, artificial flavorings, preservatives. MSG is technically considered safe, but plenty of people report headaches, dizziness, and nausea when they get too much. The noodles themselves are fried in palm oil before packaging, which means trans fats and saturated fats sneak into every bite. Those fats clog arteries and raise cholesterol. Add in the fact that ramen noodles break down quickly into glucose, and you've got a blood sugar spike waiting to happen. A serious risk for anyone with diabetes or insulin resistance. And nutritionally, instant ramen offers almost nothing. No real vitamins, no fiber, almost no protein. It's a bowl of empty calories that fills your stomach without fueling your body. Some studies even connect frequent instant noodle consumption to higher rates of metabolic syndrome, which raises the risk of diabetes and heart disease. Cheap? Yes. Convenient? Sure. But for seniors already managing blood pressure, heart health, or blood sugar, this quick meal is more like a health hazard in a crinkly packet. Number 6. Broccoli cheddar soup from fast food chains. On the surface, broccoli cheddar soup seems like a smarter choice. It has broccoli, which is a vegetable, and cheese, which has calcium. But when you order it at fast food chains, it's less about nutrition and more about serving up a calorie bomb in disguise. Take a standard cup, not even a full bowl, of broccoli cheddar soup at a chain like Panera. You're looking at around 360 calories, 21 grams of fat, and over 1,300 milligrams of sodium. Upgrade to a bread bowl, and suddenly you've crossed 800 calories and nearly 40 grams of fat. That's worse than many fast food cheeseburgers. The problem? This isn't really a vegetable soup. It's a heavy base of cream, butter, and processed cheese, with broccoli tossed in as decoration. Flavor enhancers, preservatives, and thickening agents like cornstarch round out the recipe, adding nothing nutritionally but making the soup look smoother and taste saltier. For seniors, the risks add up fast. High saturated fat raises cholesterol and clogs arteries. Excess sodium pushes blood pressure through the roof, stressing the kidneys and heart. And the calorie overload makes weight management harder, especially with a less active lifestyle. Even worse, many chains use powdered cheese mixes or pre-made soup bases. That means you're not getting fresh ingredients. You're eating processed shortcuts designed for shelf life. The end result is bloating, digestive discomfort, and long-term damage when consumed regularly. Broccoli cheddar soup may sound wholesome, but when your veggie soup has more fat than a burger, it's not comfort food. It's a nutritional trick. Number 5. Clam chowder in a bread bowl. Few soups feel as iconic as clam chowder. Creamy, hearty, served in a bread bowl. It's the picture of coastal comfort. But if you're watching your health, especially as you get older, this one's a landmine. Start with the soup itself. Traditional clam chowder uses heavy cream, butter, bacon fat, and potatoes. The clams are often canned, loaded with sodium and preservatives before they even hit the pot. Some restaurants cut costs further by swapping in clam flavoring or concentrate instead of real clams. One serving of clam chowder without the bread can already top 600 calories, 30 grams of fat, and 1,200 milligrams of sodium. Add the bread bowl, and you've got a 1,000-calorie bomb in front of you. That's half a day's calories for most seniors in a single meal. The high fat clogs arteries. The sodium spikes blood pressure. The bread bowl is basically a hollowed-out loaf of white bread, which dumps simple carbs into your bloodstream and raises blood sugar. For seniors with diabetes, hypertension, or cholesterol issues, that's a triple hit. Food safety is another issue. Seafood soups are more prone to bacterial contamination if not stored or cooked properly. Clams can carry harmful bacteria like Vibrio, and seniors with weaker immune systems are more likely to get seriously ill from contaminated seafood. Nutritionally, chowder doesn't give back much. Aside from a little protein, it's mostly carbs, fat, and salt. The bread bowl is more of a gimmick than a bonus, adding empty calories without real nutrition. If you've ever finished a clam chowder bread bowl and felt like a brick just settled in your stomach, that's not your imagination. When soup pushes 1,000 calories, that's not comfort food. It's a sinker in disguise. Number 4. French onion soup. French onion soup looks classy: golden broth, caramelized onions, and that bubbling layer of melted cheese under a crusty bread topping. But under the fancy surface, it's one of the sneakiest sodium bombs you can order. The broth itself is often beef stock from a concentrate, already loaded with salt before the onions even go in. Then chefs pile on more salt while caramelizing the onions to intensify flavor. Top it off with cheese, croutons, and more seasoning, and you've got a bowl that can easily climb to 1,500 milligrams of sodium. And let's talk about the toppings. That cheesy bread cap? It soaks up grease and broth like a sponge, then bakes into a chewy, heavy lid. What you're really eating is a grilled cheese sandwich floating in salty broth. In fact, the cheese alone can push saturated fat through the roof, spiking cholesterol and stressing your heart. The onions, which sound healthy, lose most of their nutritional value after simmering for hours. What's left is sweetness that feeds into a sugar and carb load. And if you've ever noticed the broth tastes more like bouillon cube than real stock, you're not wrong. Many restaurants use shortcuts. For seniors with high blood pressure, French onion soup is like pulling the fire alarm on your cardiovascular system. It's heavy, salty, fatty, and more bread than broth. The romance of the dish disappears once you realize you're basically eating salty cheese water with croutons. Number 3 is pho from low-quality takeout spots. Now, pho is that famous Vietnamese noodle soup people love worldwide. When it's made the right way, with a slow-cooked bone broth, fresh herbs, lean meats, and rice noodles, it can be a wholesome, comforting meal. The problem is, not every bowl of pho is created equal. Cheap takeout shops often take shortcuts, and that's where things get risky. Let's start with the broth. Authentic pho broth simmers for hours with beef or chicken bones. Spices like star anise, cinnamon, and fresh vegetables. But to save time and money, some places swap that process for bouillon cubes or powdered soup bases loaded with MSG. MSG, short for monosodium glutamate, gives food a fake umami punch. Some people can handle it, but for others, too much can trigger headaches, dizziness, or even heart palpitations. For older adults who may already deal with migraines or heart issues, that's no small concern. The meat is another issue. Real Pho uses fresh, lean cuts of beef, chicken, or seafood. Lower-end shops may use fattier, cheaper cuts, sometimes even stored improperly. That raises the chance of bacteria, like Salmonella or E. coli, sneaking into your meal, something seniors with weaker immune systems should be especially cautious about. Then there's the salt. Even without MSG, many cheap broths pack over 1,000 milligrams of sodium per bowl, and that's before adding sauces like hoisin or sriracha. For someone managing high blood pressure or kidney problems, that's a dangerous amount. Rice noodles add another challenge. They're quick-digesting carbs, which can spike blood sugar levels, especially when paired with salty, MSG-heavy broth and questionable meat. Finally, there's sanitation. Not every budget takeout kitchen follows strict food safety rules. Poor refrigeration or cross-contamination can easily slip under the radar when a broth's been simmering all day. So yes, pho can be healthy, but only if it's made with care. If you want to enjoy it safely, stick to trusted restaurants with great reviews, or better yet, make it at home. Number 2. Potato soup. Few soups feel as indulgent as potato soup. Creamy, cheesy, and topped with bacon, it's basically a liquid baked potato with all the fixings. But nutritionally, it's a nightmare. A single bowl can pack over 400 calories, 20 grams of fat, and 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That's before the bacon bits, shredded cheese, or sour cream get piled on. Suddenly, you're looking at a soup that's nutritionally equivalent to eating fast food fries drenched in cheese sauce. The potato itself is fine. It's a starchy vegetable with some potassium and fiber. The problem is what gets added. Restaurants load it up with cream, butter, and processed cheese. Bacon crumbles contribute sodium, fat, and preservatives. The soup thickens into a starchy, salty sludge that clogs arteries and spikes blood pressure. For seniors, this combo is especially dangerous. The saturated fat raises cholesterol, the sodium stresses the heart, and the calorie load can sabotage weight control. Even worse, many restaurants make it in bulk with powdered mixes, artificial thickeners, and flavor enhancers. That fresh bowl? It might have been sitting in a warmer all day. If you've ever finished a loaded potato soup and felt sluggish, bloated, and guilty, you know why. It's less of a soup and more of a melted appetizer platter. Number 1. Canned tomato soup. It might surprise you, but canned tomato soup takes the crown as the worst soup for seniors. Why? Because it pretends to be healthy while quietly doing the most damage. Tomatoes themselves are great, full of vitamins, antioxidants, and lycopene. But once they're processed into canned soup, everything changes. The soup is stripped down, sweetened with sugar or high-fructose corn syrup, and loaded with sodium. A single cup can pack up to 1,200 milligrams of sodium, and that's before you add the grilled cheese most people pair with it. The sugar content is another trap. Some brands sneak in as much sugar per serving as a cookie. That's a direct hit to blood sugar, especially risky for seniors with diabetes or insulin resistance. And then there's the can itself. Many are still lined with BPA, a chemical linked to hormone disruption and increased risk of certain cancers. For seniors, whose systems are already more vulnerable, That's a gamble not worth taking. The texture? Thin and watery, with little to no fiber. It doesn't fill you up, leaving you hungry again an hour later. And nutritionally, you're left with little more than salt, sugar, and chemicals in a red disguise. Canned tomato soup is marketed as wholesome comfort food, but in reality, it's an empty, salty, sugary liquid. For seniors, it's less about comfort and more about slowly stacking the odds against your health. Safe soup number 2. Homemade lentil soup. If you want a soup that's truly safe, satisfying, and nourishing, start with lentils. Unlike the canned and processed options we've just covered, homemade lentil soup is built on real, whole ingredients that actually support senior health. Lentils are packed with plant-based protein, fiber, iron, and folate. That fiber is a game changer. It helps regulate digestion, lowers cholesterol, and stabilizes blood sugar. For seniors managing diabetes or heart disease, that's a huge win. And here's the beauty. Lentil soup doesn't need cream, butter, or artificial thickeners. A simple base of onions, carrots, celery, garlic, and herbs simmered with lentils creates a hearty, rich soup without piling on calories or fat. You control the sodium, which means you can season with herbs, lemon juice, or spices instead of drowning the pot in salt. Lentils also cook quickly, which means you can have a nourishing meal in under an hour with minimal effort. And it freezes well, so you can make a big batch and have healthy portions ready whenever you want them. Every spoonful is filling, flavorful, and genuinely good for your body. It's the opposite of those sodium-packed canned soups. It's real comfort food, with benefits that last. Safe soup number 1. Chicken and vegetable soup. The other safe choice is a true classic. Chicken and vegetable soup made fresh at home. Not the canned, watered-down version, but a pot made with real chicken, fresh veggies, and herbs. Start with skinless chicken breast or thighs, simmered in water with garlic, onion, and herbs. Add carrots, celery, zucchini, green beans, or whatever's in season. Finish with a handful of fresh parsley or a squeeze of lemon. The result? A flavorful broth with tender chicken and nutrient-packed vegetables without the overload of sodium and chemicals. This soup delivers lean protein, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants while staying light and easy to digest. For seniors, it provides energy without heaviness, hydration without the salt overload, and comfort without compromise. And again, you control the seasoning. Want more flavor? Use garlic, thyme, rosemary, or even a pinch of turmeric for anti-inflammatory benefits. You get to decide what goes in, which means no preservatives, no MSG, and no mystery meat. Homemade chicken and vegetable soup is simple, customizable, and nourishing. It's proof that soup can be both comforting and genuinely healthy. So there you have it, the 10 soups you should avoid, and the 2 you can count on to nourish your body instead of quietly damaging it. Remember, not all comfort food is created equal. Some soups sneak in sodium, sugar, and fat that sabotage your health, while others, made fresh and simple, truly support your well-being. Next time you're craving a warm bowl of comfort, skip the can, skip the chain restaurant, and head to your own kitchen. Because the safest soup is the one you make yourself. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend or loved one who could use a healthier bowl of comfort. And if you want more practical tips on eating well, saving money, and staying strong as you age, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. We've got plenty more guides coming your way to help you live longer, healthier, and smarter, without breaking the bank.